hope you're all well. Today's video is going to be about constipation and wind in newborn babies. Now, both my sons have had constipation quite severely, to which my eldest son still suffers with it now at the age of 2.5. So I have kind of a bit of a dab hand at what to do when it comes to constipation, how to ease it, signs of constipation, and just things like that. Now, my first son, like I mentioned, he had constipation from a really young age, and it was down to a lot of his milk allergies and problems with that, but also just everyday kind of problems with him having constipation. My second son has had constipation since almost a couple of days after coming out of hospital, and we've had paramedics over our house, we've been to out of hours, we've done everything with regards to his constipation and phoning people to kind of help him and stuff like that. So I want to start with the signs of constipation. Now, a lot of people think that if your son or your daughter hasn't been in a day, then they're constipated, and that's not right. A baby, especially a formula-fed baby, moreover, can be constipated quite severely. However, just because they're not going a poo, it doesn't mean they are constipated. They may just have nothing to flush through. A baby can go a couple of days, especially formula-fed babies, without going to a toilet and not needing to. However, that was the first sign with me with my second son as to why he was constipated, because my first son went about 4 or 5 times a day and my second son hadn't gone at all. The next sign is obviously them really struggling and being in a lot of pain. My son's tummies would go rock solid when they were trying to go. They would be in a lot of pain, making a lot of distressing noises. They would be really kind of trying to strain to go to the toilet, and it was really painful and upsetting to watch. They wouldn't settle at all, and they were in a lot of discomfort. And obviously that combined with the fact that they hadn't gone, and then you could kind of see them in that pain when they were trying to go, but yet nothing was coming, was another sign for us. Another sign that we had was obviously the fact that there was a lot of wind. So he was very windy, however there was just nothing coming. And the last biggest sign for us was the fact that when he did go to the toilet, he was constipated and his poos weren't pleasant. They weren't what a baby's poo should look like, and they were more like rabbit drop-ins. If a baby is going, it doesn't necessarily mean they're not constipated. A baby can have diarrhea and still be constipated, because when they do eventually go, if they haven't been for a long time and they have had rapid droplets in between, they do eventually need to have it coming out. However, initially they are the first signs. Obviously when they are going, they're really struggling, and their poos are really tiny and small as well. Now, we've obviously learned over the last few years with both of our sons a few ways to actually treat constipation, and I thought I'd share a few of those ways for some of you today, because obviously if you are in that position and you're sitting at home and your baby is constipated and you don't know what to do, some of these tips and tricks will definitely help you. Now, the first trick that I always swear by, which was something that I was told by both my mum and my mother-in-law, is boiled water. Boiled water just seems to help the tummy, and it seems to help everything kind of flush through. It dilutes the formula down, and kind of the warmness in their tummy can help loosen their bowels a little bit and help them go. What we aim to do is, generally, if we have a constipated baby, we like to feed them their bottles so they're still getting their formula feeds. However, we like to give them about 1 ounce of water. Some people recommend a little bit more. I would say judge it on how much your baby's drinking at that point. When my son had just come home from the hospital and he was only on about 3 or 4 ounces, we was doing about 1 ounce in between each feed, and we was making sure that he got his feeds first and then giving him the boiled water. Some babies don't like it, but obviously it's just a case to keep retrying them with it, and obviously they don't really know much at the moment, so if you can get them to take that boiled water, it will kind of help loosen their bowels inside. Another thing that is recommended, and I would maybe recommend this in older children, but is prune juice. Now, I've never put it in a newborn baby, because I believe for at least the first month or so they should just kind of have natural everything really. So whether it's natural body products and just water, or just their formulas and things like that, I believe we should try and keep everything as stripped back as possible, because babies are so delicate. But the next thing that I would definitely recommend is prune juice, because it does help babies go and older children go as well. If you are weaning, then obviously lots of fruit and vegetables can obviously help going as well, and there are lots of tips and tricks about this on the internet. I'm also going to be writing a blog post on this soon, so I will leave a link below as to items that can help children go if you are on that weaning stage as well. But definitely prune juice. If your baby is constipated, one of the things that you can do is actually applying a tiny bit of Vaseline or petroleum jelly around the outside of their bottom with a Q-tip or a cotton bud as such. If you apply that, what it does is when they are trying to go, it can help just ease it coming out and obviously not make them as sore. Likewise, I would definitely recommend to either apply petroleum jelly or some sort of barrier cream to their bottoms, because they can get really sore when they do go, and obviously that would just help them have any more further discomfort. Another thing that's great, like I mentioned with the boiled water, is water in itself. Hot water is great for helping a baby or children go, so a hot bath would be definitely recommended. Obviously, when I say hot bath, I don't mean boiling baths. I literally just mean maybe giving them a bath a little bit more often. Obviously, again, judge this on your child, because my first son had really bad eczema and skin problems, so we didn't bath him as regularly as what we do my second son, because he doesn't have as many skin problems. However, putting them in a bath can really help their tummies, help ease the pain, and obviously decrease the amount of pain and discomfort they're in. It can also help them go. So if you can, maybe giving them a bath a day or every other day, just kind of increasing that, and obviously encouraging that kind of looseness to be encouraged with inside the bowels can definitely help. Another way that, again, you can help encourage them to go is a lot of the times they say that the way the formula is made up can be a big problem if you are formula feeding as to why a baby is constipated and why they're having tummy problems. Something that we always find help if we don't actually give them boiled water is we will actually increase the amount of water in their formula. Some people don't recommend this, some people say stick to the exact guidelines, but for us it's always worked. I would never say do more formula to water, but always, in my case, adding a little bit more water in just to make their milk a little bit more watery. So if they do 6 ounces, giving them 6.5 ounces of water to 6 scoops would definitely help work. Sometimes the formula can make them a little bit more constipated and bunged up, and having that extra bit of water isn't as thick and gloopy, so can help them pass it through a lot easier. Another thing that you can actually do with your child are different exercises with their legs and with their tummy. The first one is bicycle legs. So as I mentioned, one of the signs for a baby having really bad constipation and tummy pains was normally they're constantly pulling their legs up and moving around and struggling to move their legs. And you normally find that a baby's natural instinct is to move their legs backwards and forwards, and that does help them go. Now obviously they do that naturally by themselves, and that's because of the pain and discomfort they're in. But a way that you can help is by doing the bicycle legs. You literally grab their legs and, as if you were riding on a bicycle, move them backwards and forwards, so it kind of helps them go as they are trying to squeeze it through, and it helps get those bowels going. Another thing that you can do with their legs is move them round in a clockwise motion, round and round and round. So grab them together and move them around like this. Again, that can encourage the bowels to move, and you always want to make sure you're doing it in a clockwise direction, because that's the direction that the bowel's kind of moving as such, to get that to kind of come through. The last thing that I would recommend you doing is the sun and moon massage. The sun and moon massage is an absolute lifesaver. You can probably see lots of videos on YouTube about the sun and moon massage, but you literally just make a full circle with one hand and a semicircle with the other, one after another, completely repeating that process. And you can do it for a number of times, and again, that encourages the bowels to get going, puts a little bit of pressure on the tummy, but helps ease the discomfort. And I always find if you can't do that, then obviously just rubbing in circular clockwise motions on their tummy can definitely help as well. If all of those tips fail and your baby is still in a lot of pain, then there are other options. I would definitely recommend seeing your GP or your doctor no matter what, because obviously they will be the people that can have the best advice for you. However, for me, we then moved on to a colic and constipation milk for my son, and since we've moved on to that milk, it has drastically helped. That has been our step that we've gone through with the doctors, and that is definitely what I would recommend you doing should you find your little child is still suffering with these problems. Well guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again shortly with my next video.